Hey everybody, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. Guys, this is one of my regular drinking go-to beers when I can get my hands on it. This is Founder's Breakfast Stout. This now coming in at 8.30%. I think this used to be a 9%er, so I remember this being 9%. Now that's down to 8.3%. So they dropped the ABV back a little bit, and I don't know if it's just this particular year or the last couple of years, but I remember this being a little bit bigger than what it is now. And this used to be, like I said, one of my all-time favorites as far as, not being a super hyped up beer like their KBS or CBS. It is available at the grocery stores and easy to buy, and that goes a little way where I don't have to drive across town or anything like that to even pick it up or purchase it. When these beers are available at the local Kroger stores, it saves me a trip across town, and it doesn't save me a lot of money by going to the craft beer store usually. So I do find this beer a very, very tasty beer. I'm just thinking that it used to be a little bit bigger than what it is now as far as ABV. It is one of my favorites, I will say that. Like I said, I do buy this beer quite often and drink it when I'm not doing reviews for my final beer of the evening. This is not any kind of barrel-aged bourbon barrel or anything like that beer. Just a nice, tasty imperial stout that's done very, very well. It's not very expensive, usually. So, Untappd has this at 60 IBUs, guys. So, and Founders does date their stuff. It says bottled on 10/6 of 2017. And this particular one was sent to me by Rico, my brother. And he writes on this: Founder's Breakfast Stout, 8.3 Imperial Stout with 60 IBUs, brewed with an abundance of flaked oats, which gives a nice creamy mouthfeel usually to the beers. Bitter and imported chocolates and Sumatra and Kona coffee. I wasn't aware that they did coffee in these beers. That would be a reason why you would not want to cellar it, because the coffee is going to fade over time. Other than that, this beer is going to keep for a while. He said he bought it a couple weeks back and it was $10 for a 4-pack. Well, that's not too awful bad. 8.3% Russian Imperial Stout for $10 or less, which is decent. It's decent. It's not outstanding, but it's decent. It says bottled on, I just read you the bottled on date, and he says I last reviewed it back in 2010. So, it's been a while since I reviewed this beer, guys, and I remember if I go back and look at that review, I did not do it. It may have been a 9% back then. So, I'm just thinking this thing was a little bit bigger than once upon a time. So, with that being said, it is a very tasty beer, guys. So he sent me this. So I said, well, we'll re-review it since it's been that long ago since I have done it. I didn't realize it had been that long. So, and it gets to the point where you, like with me, when you review getting close to 2,800, is that what it is? 2,900? Yeah, over 2,900 beer reviews, getting ready to come up on the 3,000 beers. Sometimes it becomes difficult for me to find beers that are available here that I have not done before or not reviewed before, and that's why sometimes you'll see, just like yesterday's beer, I reviewed that beer from Lagunitas a year ago. And the only reason I did that because they sent it to me. I did not purchase it. So when people send me beers, whether it's Rico, Greg, or whoever it is, I'm going to re-review it if it's been at least a year. And this particular one, I didn't realize it had been that long. I'm just not in a habit of re-reviewing beers unless there's something different about the beers or somebody sends me those beers. Excuse me. Got a tickle in my throat. Need to get the cap open on this. Commercial description on this particular beer, 8.3, 60 IBUs. Says the coffee lover's consummate beer, brewed with an abundance of flaked oat, bitter, and imported chocolates. And it's the same thing that Rico wrote. Tomato and Kona coffee, Stout is intense rest, roasted Java notes, topped with frothy cinnamon-colored head that goes forever. Well, cinnamon colored. I mean, I don't think they used any cinnamon in it, and I don't think we're going to get any cinnamon taste in the beer. And if they've done something different on this one since the last one I had, I think I bought some of this last year. So, like I said, I do pick it up occasionally when I do see it here in the Kroger store around here. So let's get on with this. I don't want it to be a hugely long video. From my personal experience, it's a reasonably priced beer that has a great taste and flavor. So, with that being said, I don't think there's anything else we need to talk about there, so let's stop talking. Well, I'm trying to get my throat cleared, a little bit of hiss, and there goes the cap into the floor. I'll pick that up later. Into the glass we go, and I'll tell you the cheese of buttery, brie, good Havarti Swiss, general chocolate, digestive, meats beef, smoked meat, game, and grilled meat. Glass by the Pintbacker 9-tumbler snifter, oversized wine glass. I got my favorite tulip glass. It says here can be sold for a long period of time. Just remember, if they've used coffee in this, that's going to fade over time. Getting pour very much of a head, just covering the top of the beer. It is pitch black, guys. To the nose we go. Rich roasted malt, a little bit of hint of some bittersweet chocolate. Black molasses, caramel. Maybe some dark fruit in there. Maybe a slight twinge of some coffee. Wasn't aware that they did coffee in this beer. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Rico. I am getting the coffee. Guys, it is there. Sumatra coffee is usually pretty strong, but this was, it may have already faded. This was put in a bottle in October, November, December, January. We're at 3 months in the bottle. It may have been a little bit more coffee notes in October, right after it was put in the bottle, than I'm getting now, because that's just like hops and IPAs and double IPAs. By the time you start getting to the 3rd month, 4th month, 5th month, 6th month, those notes start disappearing a little bit. It's a tasty beer, guys. Like I said, I do pick this up occasionally. That's a delicious beer. Ain't no doubt about it. Like I said, you do see this stuff in my fridge occasionally, and I probably got some downstairs in the fridge downstairs. But I wasn't worried that it had coffee in it, so if I do, I'm going to have to go down there and look. And if I do have any of these from previous years, I need to get them out and drink them. With the coffee in there, that's going to fade, like I said. So this right out of the fridge, let's let this warm up. You got to let these Imperial Stouts warm up to room temperature. I like to taste it or start off with it right out of the fridge, and then let it come up to room temperature while I'm puffing on a cigar. So that sounds like a good idea. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to take this out on deck. It's about 55 degrees out there. Not too awful bad for January. Can go out there and sit without freezing my off and sip on it for a little bit. So I'll be right back and we'll see where this one ends up. Alright guys, I'm back. Got just a little left here. This is a tasty beer, guys. Like I said, it wouldn't be one of my go-to beers if it was not. I do find this very enjoyable. It's not overpriced, being an 8.3% now. It is sold in 4-packs, and it is around $10 or $11 for a 4-pack of it, depending on where you buy it. I enjoy this beer, I really do. Like I said, I do buy it occasionally myself for a go-to beer. So with that being said, it is very, very tasty. I wasn't aware, I learned something tonight, that it did have coffee in the beer. And I have not, I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever noticed that before. If I have, I've forgotten. But the coffee's not off the chain like a lot of coffee beers are. So, but it is 3 months old. Still a very tasty beer. I do buy this. I mean, I enjoy it. So, Rico, thanks so much, my brother. Final chug. A very delicious, not overpriced, not super hyped up. You ain't got to stand in line or get your name on the list to get this beer. And it's done very, very well. There's no off-putting flavors. The alcohol is very well hidden for an 8.3% now. Very delicious, guys. It is. I enjoy this beer. I really, really do. And to me, with the date on the back label written where you can see it, with the IBUs and the ABV, all 3 bits of information, and the IBUs aren't critical for this style of beer, and the only reason the date is because they've used coffee in the brewing process. So I'll have to, like I said, I'll have to go down and make sure I haven't got some old bottles of this in the fridge downstairs, because I'm sure if I do, the coffee's probably faded by now, because I have never noticed the coffee before. But it is very subtle, though. It is very, very subtle. So with that being said, guys, it's super well done. It is. So I'm gonna give this an A-. But if you say, oh, that's a 9 or a 10 beer, I would not argue with that. It is very. That's why it's one of my go-to beers for me to drink in the evening when I'm not doing beer reviews, when I can get my hands on it. So guys, like I said, if you think this is a 10 beer, I would not argue with that. For what it is and for the price it costs, it is a very, very well done. I'm not going to give it to 10. I am going to give it to 9 because of the availability and the price and all 3 bits of information on the label. So with that being said, my grade is going to be 97. That's where I'm going to put this beer. Over to Beer Advocate. Beer Advocate says 4.51, but it's definitely in their A category also. And over to Untappd, they have 4.17, borderline between their A- and their A beer. So let's just give it the benefit of the doubt and say it's an A beer all the way around, guys. Very tasty. And like I said, you don't have to stand in line, get your name on a list. Pretty big distribution on this beer. You should be able to get it if it's distributed in your state. And very tasty if you're into this style of beer. So the only way it could be better is bourbon barrel aged, and that's, you're getting into the KBS and the CBS versions, which are hard to get my hands on, or have to get on a list, or stand in line and to get one beer. A lot of places that are closer to the brewery, you can get what you want, or how many you want, but around here, in the CBS and the KBS, it's like hen's teeth. You'd be damn lucky if you can get one. So, hard to get a hold of on those styles of beer. And this one is not. So, if you've had this beer, like I said, this is the 2017 edition. This was put in the bottle in October of 2017. And I'm doing it here on the 22nd of January 2018. Still very tasty. I am getting some coffee, but it is very subtle for Sumatra coffee, which is usually off the chain as far as coffee notes. So if you've had this particular version, let me know what you think, guys. Till we meet again, let's go see what's in the fridge.